Welcome, everybody, to our review discussion of the weekend's festivities. What with the SAGs, the Spirits, and the PGAs in that order. We won't be discussing them in that order. I think considering that it's only 3 awards, PGA will be in the middle as a gap thing. But yeah, this is Ashley. Joining me as ever is AJ and Owen, where we get to discuss a lot of interesting predictions that went right and wrong for all three of us, which ultimately resulted in practically no change. Some fascinating things going down. I guess we'll start off with SAGs from Saturday. From what I've heard, not being able to see it because I don't have Netflix, I'm guessing AJ, you did catch it, and then he froze. No.
Oh God, yeah, he did.
He's back.
Okay, are we back now?
Yeah.
So what was that?
What? What did you think of the ceremony? I'm guessing you're the one that managed to catch it.
Yes.
General thoughts on it? Obviously, they went hostless again this year.
Well, it was mostly smooth, but they made one change that was kind of unnecessary. Which was because you'll notice, well, maybe you won't if you didn't see it. Idris Elba opened the show after the "I'm an actor" bit, and he made a point to say, "We're on Netflix, so we are straight 2 hours, no breaks or anything." Well, I guess they still need their mingle breaks, so they found a way. They would randomly do backstage interviews while everybody else mingled, and it was a point where it was like, in Jeremy Allen White's speech at the end, he said like, "Oh wow, they give you a lot of time at this one, but that's all I've got." So I kind of thought it was just it's like they thought they gave themselves too much time, so they were going to add the backstage interviews as part of the show as filler. But then it got to the point to where it was clear we might be starting to go over that 2 hour mark, and they were still doing the backstage interviews. And I don't think that was a necessary addition. That could have been a check these out on YouTube kind of thing. But other than that, it was about as smooth as SAG usually is.
At least that's good. That's weird. How they were saying, "Oh, there's no breaks." Like, well, surely the show still got sponsors, right? Technically, there was no breaks in the independent spirits. It was just, here's the obligatory sponsor money that we got from Stella Artois and Lavazza Coffee and things like that.
We literally had the scene in the Polar Express where they come out with coffee and hand it to everybody.
So yeah, we started off with the reason I lost the SAGs, thinking way too Moneyball on the stunt categories, because TV did go to Last of Us and stunt did go to Mission Impossible, which I need to quickly check because I'm trying to make sure that means that did John Wick ever win? No. John Wick never won a stunt award. That was its first nomination.
I can't remember what Owen, because we both said the same thing, but I was a little surprised because I always miss at least one of these.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised actually.
Well, with TV it made sense, and movie was just a crapshoot because it feels like nothing else really made sense in its own right. Like, it wasn't going to go to Barbie. It was going to go to Indiana Jones. I didn't think it was going to go to Guardians. So its only real competition was John Wick. And, it felt like it was Mission Impossible's award to win. So that's why I went with it.
And I guess unlike John Wick, Mission Impossible, like a year and a half in advance, is always, hey, check out our awesome stunts.
Yeah.
So it just kind of gradually goes the.
So they were the only two that were awards stuff. Oh wow! Thanks to Eric Anderson at Awards Watch on Twitter, I actually have the running order.
I was looking at the wiki page of all the various presenters, and something I always love seeing is when you get reunions, and they did quite a few of them. A lot of stuff that I really enjoy, and we'll get to that as we progress through the show.
So yeah,
because much to my happiness, that the Devil Wears Prada one was the first one.
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, yeah, I guess SAG was like, "Hey, the Oscars like doing reunions. We're gonna do it as well now."
I mean, I love him, but I kept wondering all night why Elijah Wood was there. And then it made sense.
So we led off with male actor in a comedy series, which of course went to Kerry Von Erich.
Yep, of course it did.
Unsurprisingly. Anything good from White's speech, AJ?
It was mostly just he really shouted out Evan Moss Backrack in kind of a nice way, and then I think the star of his speech though was the, oh man, I didn't realize I had this much time, but that's all I got. Bye.
Which always makes sense.
And then backstage he talked about how thrilled he was to be the recipient during the Devil Wears Prada reunion.
Then who did we have for female miniseries?
We had
Oh, shit. Yeah.
And of course,
I got the lineups in front of me, Ashley, so I'll cover that, and you want to cover the winners and everything.
Yeah. I was just making. I was wanting to know who presented the awards because we're on that sort of deal. But yeah, unsurprisingly, Ali Wong won for Beef.
Getting ahead of ourselves, as I like to do from time to time, and when we do stuff like this, especially when we're covering 3 award shows in the same podcast, I will state right now, this was not a time that you could ever doubt Beef in any way, shape, or form, and I feel stupid for even doing it in the first place. Didn't do it here, but I did it in another place.
Well, I mean, you say that, but then we saw what happened in the drama category, so it's always possible.
Yeah, we'll get there, don't worry.
Then I'm guessing it was probably Margot and Ryan.
America.
Oh, it was Ryan and America as well with those two.
No, just Margot and America.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's
He literally got Ken.
But to be fair, it was announced today. I saw it on social media that Ryan Gosling is performing I'm Just Ken at the Oscars this year. So we get to hear it in a couple of weeks.
That's visual. Yeah, that's the only confirmation we have so far of anything.
Yes.
And we have 2 weeks to go. What the hell? We then had female comedy series actress.
Why in the blue hell did they pair Billie Eilish and Melissa McCarthy?
So they did a bit.
Oh, something like she had to sign her forehead or something like that. Did I see that on social media?
Yeah, and I'm going to assume that had to have been a prop because it looked like a real Sharpie. and she was writing on her face.
Nice. Well, it's worth doing. It's worth doing right.
And of course, shock surprise. The bear. The bear wins out. Which we all got.
Yep.
Then we transition to, who did we have presenting American Fiction?
It was Eric Alexander, Tracy Ellis Ross, Sterling K. Brown, and Jeffrey Wright.
Oh, a fair few of them, not just
Yes.
2.
Well, it was Jeffrey Wright had like one thing to say, and he was in the middle of saying it when it cut to the clip.
Wow.
Well, I think he got it out, but he had to say it very quickly before it cut away.
They cut him the hell out. What the actual monkey? We then transition to the interesting one, as it turns out. Male actor in a drama series. And lo and behold,
Big win for Ashley.
Pedro
I love
Pascal
how-
actually wins. The hell.
I love how you get. Usually, when people say, "Oh my God, I wasn't expecting this," you can say like, "Yes, you were." But number one, everybody was expecting Kieran Culkin. Number two, he was clearly underdressed on purpose because he thought he wasn't going to be on stage. And obviously, as he mentioned, he was getting drunk because he had no intentions of being on stage. So if ever there was I was not expecting this,
Nice.
this was a very sincere one.
And of course, the immortal line, "I'm gonna go and have a panic attack right now."
Yeah, what I was saying, where Jeremy Allen White said like, "Okay, bye," was me kind of being hyperbolic. That's literally what Pascal did.
But I'm kind of I'm pleased for him because, you know, that's his first award win at a major award ceremony. Despite what he's done over the past 5-6 years, you know, with Narcos and things like that, never got acknowledged.
And all actors pretty much say the same thing, where it's, as far as level of importance for actors, it goes the Oscar and then SAG, basically. So to kind of start here must have been a big deal, especially when you're half drunk and weren't expecting it. Because you'll notice I love the sincerity when stuff like that happens, because the same thing happened when Rockwell won for Fosse Verdon, where he had lost the whole season, and when you see him win, he's genuine. Like, everybody was genuinely shocked. And I love that SAG is a place where you get to see that pretty regularly.
And then we transition to supporting actress. And who was it presenting this one?
It was something that Elias would have totally like went nuts for, because it was the Lord of the Rings reunion with Sean Astin and Elijah Wood.
And they presented it to.
And they did it.
Go ahead.
They did do a pretty funny fake out, where they did a bit about when it won ensemble, the only people that weren't there to accept it were Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen. So they seemed like they were playing it up, that it was the presenters were gonna be.
Oh no.
We have blips.
Go ahead.
The presenters were
They're
going to
playing
be.
up
Oh, we're here
cut
again?
off.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
The only people that weren't there to accept when they won were Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen. So they were building up that the presenters were going to be Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen, but it was Elijah Wood and Sean Astin.
And of course, to the shock of absolutely no one on the planet ever.com, no matter what, the Randolph train continues chugging along.
Divine was in a good dress, though. I'll give her that. And it wasn't, like, impractical, unlike the one at the BAFTAs. Then, I'm guessing... Please tell me Lily Gladstone was on the stage for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Of course. Tantu Cardinal.
Yeah, it was her. It was her. Yeah.
I wasn't trying to cut you off, AJ. I didn't realize you were going to say anything. My apologies.
It's gonna cut me off itself all night, so I'm gonna get used to it.
So.
See.
So who was the other beef presenter?
That would be Greta Lee and Troy Kotzer.
Okay.
A great double right there.
Yeah. By the way, I could not stop laughing the whole time Troy Kotzer was on stage because he was the most recent guest appearance on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it was glorious.
That's amazing.
Of course, the reason I say that is, shock surprise, the beef.
By the way, the continuous joke on Curb Your Enthusiasm was they only called him Troy. They never called him his last name. And then at one point towards the end, after Larius hit him with a golf ball, the head of the country club is yelling at him and literally says, "You hit Academy Award winner Troy." Even with Academy Award winner, still no last name.
Hilarious. It's like Cher. It only needs one word. I come up from time to time. Anyway.
So then we had the comedy ensemble, which was presented by
Modern Family.
Oh, a reunion from those guys. Wow.
AJ, give me
and I was surprised when they did the cast reunions like Breaking Bad and Modern Family, where it was like basically everyone's here. I think the only ones missing from Modern Family were the kids.
That makes sense.
But everybody else was there.
Nice.
And yeah, the bear love continues.
Yes.
For that one. Then we had Jennifer Aniston presenting the Life Achievement Award to the Streisand.
Oh, don't discount Bradley Cooper, even though the Academy has.
I was trying to figure out what was going on with Aniston. I don't know if anybody's talking about this. I don't want to seem too critical because like.
Wait. Are we trying to imply that Jennifer Aniston was in The Shallows? Is that what we're trying to say?
Well, I felt like it could have been two things. It could have just been a Pedro Pascal scenario, where it's like if you're going to present a Lifetime Achievement Award to Streisand, you probably need to calm your nerves a little bit.
Sure.
But there was also a moment when they were doing the they were showing clips of the previous ensemble winners, and shortly before she went up, there was a clip of when Friends won, and Matthew Perry spoke for them. So I don't know if it was also a combination of having just been blindsided by a clip of Matthew Perry, like shortly before she went on stage, that she might have not been expecting. Because I had heard, while it was hard for all of them, she specifically had a really rough time with that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of chalking up to maybe that too.
It was a hell of a speech. It was a hell of a speech, though. I mean, the fact that Eric says, "I love that she's giving a speech as long as her audio memoir and didn't just say thanks and leave." But yeah, it was a good job. We then transitioned to supporting actor, and also unsurprisingly, at least from our predictions, Downey Jr. took that as well. for the
Yep.
Open homies?
I think at this point, there's no really I think at this point. You can just say it, just chalk it up right now. Randolph and Downey are locks.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where before Idris Elba presented supporting actor, he did mention that he won twice in 2015 for that and Luther. And if I remember correctly, the way he announced it was the one actor goes to, which is
Nice.
Then an interesting choice of Omar Sy and Skarsgård for female actor in drama series.
I've got a question. When they brought him out, I think Omar C. Did they say it wrong, or have I been saying it wrong for 13 years?
I can't say anything. I didn't see the ceremony.
It might be. It could be C. It could be Psy. I've heard it as both. That's the annoying thing.
Okay, because I've definitely been saying Psy ever since the Untouchables
He doesn't
came
have a
out,
Twitter,
which he
so we
titled
can't
off, by
tweet
the
at
way.
him and say how do we pronounce it.
So that's kind of like Disney has their own private island for Disney Cruise Line called Castaway Cay, but it's spelled Cay, but it's pronounced Key. So it's something like that.
Okay.
Exactly.
That is a decision. Speaking of
Speaking
that,
of that's a decision.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, the Crown wins again. We were
Did
wrong.
they really? They really must have felt sorry for her to deal with that bloody script. Like, I know you're playing Diana, but when part of it you're playing the ghost of her that's like supposed to be like Christmas caroling, like Charles and Elizabeth, like, oh, remember, oh. I was like, where's the ghost of Christmas present? It's a chubby fat man. We'd probably be Brian Blessed. Probably in real life because you're probably good friends with her. So. Oh, I did miss. Was there anything substantial from Fran's president address, if anything? Okay, that's quick.
Just the stuff you'd.
Yeah.
That
Just the
sounds
stuff you'd expect with the solid. The only problem is that you want to cheer her on, but it was one of those cases where like we were getting towards the end and it seemed like it should be winding down, and then she came out and it's like, oh, I kind of thought we were getting close to the finish. That's the kind of that kind of stuff. This is kind of stuff you want to do earlier, but other than that,
then was this where we had the Breaking Bad reunion?
That would be correct.
For drama series, which fits.
Yeah.
And it also fits that it goes to something else that no doubt in a few years' time we're going to have a Succession reunion because of how well received that show was as well. And yeah, we all got that as well. And then the one that may or may not answer what's happening in 2 weeks.
Hold on. I'm not gonna bury the lead here. I want to say this. AJ, you had to have absolutely loved this award show. Because your movie got to like perform gangbusters. Your girl got to be on stage twice. And it's like most everything you wanted to win.
like 3 times if you.
Technically 3, I was going to say.
Yeah, that's true. Present twice. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Present twice and win once.
Yeah. We'll get to that when we get a little bit later. I have some thoughts.
Also, because I looked at the notes, who were the openers and closers in the in memoriam section?
It ended on Harry Belafonte. It ended on Harry Belafonte.
Oh wow!
It started with Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
The order is actually on Wikipedia.
Oh, they actually.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
They bothered to actually put it up. I also like the fact, I'll mention it here because it's in memoriam. People complain the hell out of why wasn't Matthew Perry in the BAFTA in memoriam thing. And maybe it's BAFTA trying to make up for it, but also at the same time it makes sense. They thought it was better for Matthew Perry to be honoured in the TV BAFTA in memoriam in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Because I'd say that's where you'd establish him more.
He was also semi-main for SAG. He was right before Belafonte, according to the list.
Yeah.
Oh, but they actually also acknowledged James McCaffrey in it. Nice. They actually acknowledged Max Payne. That's kind of a surprise. Although they probably would have just shown his Rescue Me, television stuff rather than Max Payne.
There was somebody, I don't know who's who. There was at least one or two that looked like they were video game clips.
Oh, okay. If the in memoriam is somewhere on the internet, I'll have to look.
AJ, did they do obviously they did Harley Quinn for Arlene Sorkin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's how most people know who she is, so just want to make sure.
I hope Tom Sizemore's was just a clip in Vice City.
It was a Private Ryan clip.
That makes sense.
Because I'm looking at other people who might or may not have been video games, but I'm just looking for the big names.
Well, there was kind of like an animated section where like oh my god, her name just flew out of my head. Harley Quinn.
You
just said yeah, her and like the video game. There were like a few animated ones, like kind of all together there.
Oh, I guess Camar de los Reyes, who was the antagonist of Black Ops 2. That might have been one of them. And Lance Reddick, who was digital version of himself and actually himself in Quantum Break. The weirdest concept of a thing, but then again it came from the brains behind Max Payne and all that and Alan Wake, so of course that makes sense that it's going to be weird, but yeah, I'll have to see if that's been posted up anywhere and see where the video game clips are. So yeah, then we get to the bit where I'm not saying it's a definite for the Oscars, but it's looking a lot more solid now that even the SAG, even the Actors Guild went with Murphy over Giamatti.
Yeah.
We were saying pretty confidently before, if this happened, the race is over, and I guess Giamatti could still come back in from out of nowhere, but it feels a lot more unlikely than it did a few days ago.
Yeah, for sure. Although, and this is the only time I'll bring it up because he isn't mentioned any other time on this show, sadly. Paul Giamatti's Criterion Closet is a thing of beauty. I love all the comments that are like, this is the first ASMR Criterion Closet video.
Well, first, when I saw it posted, I made an audible noise. I went like, oh. and then it managed to exceed expectations.
Especially when it was like, I always wanted to see the original Solaris, and I got it on a videotape. And it was boring as hell. It's just like Andrei Tarkovsky, you've done it again. Then we had, I'm guessing it was Fantasia and the lot, and Coleman Domingo.
No, actually, it wasn't.
Coleman wasn't there?
Yeah, it was Taraji, Danielle Brooks, and oh god damn it.
Want me to say it, or do you want
Oprah
to
Winfrey.
come up with it? It was Halle Bailey. Because
That's right.
Oh, it's the Pandora girl. I keep seeing her on Pandora commercials. Nothing else. That's, whether that's good or bad, however you look at it, but
I feel bad for forgetting her because if there were a lot of things wrong with The Little Mermaid, she wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, the whole Color Purple cast was impressive, so I guess you could say.
I'm trying to work out what she's... Hang on. Quickly to her IMDb to see what she's doing now. Meanwhile, we get to the other... The one that I guess is now officially a 2-horse race. It is not done and dusted. Because SAG also did honour Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. And with SAG probably having more weight in terms of actors, I'm not saying that, she's the front runner of the two, but it's certainly a 2-horse race now rather than a sort of what we've got with Murphy and sort of it being a sort of 80% Murphy, 20% Giamatti.
I feel like I could totally be wrong here and just pulling something out of my ass, but what it feels like is when there's a 2-person race and one of them has already won, it feels like a lot of the time SAG goes with the person that hasn't won before, and that's who ends up winning. The only one I can think of off the top of my head where this has been the case is the Lupita Lawrence race, but I feel like it's happened before as well, or after at some point. I don't know, but I feel pretty confident in Gladstone right now.
Yeah,
it's because like we were saying, it wasn't that Lily was snubbed by BAFTA. It's just Stone didn't have her as competition at that time because of the weird ass voting system that BAFTA has. So this made me pretty confident in Gladstone, but I guess we'll see what happens.
So did Elba present the final award then?
No.
That was Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
Oh, yep. Wow, okay.
They never once brought up their marriage or Earth Girls Are Easy. It was only The Fly.
Probably part of the contract.
Which, the interesting thing, though, is, again, as Eric's pointed out, but probably good for Owen because he doesn't have to say, the name of that film again. But I think it was previous that normally the one that wins ensemble the previous year usually hands it out the next year, I think.
That's where I thought it was going, because they did the thing they were doing all night where they showed clips of the previous ensemble winners before they presented the presenters. Then it was like, oh, okay.
And then we had to go with
another moment I did love was Goldblum was being very theatrical, as Goldblum does.
Yes.
Of course.
He was doing it very slowly, and Gina Davis, he was saying, like, this is the last award of the night, and she said, yeah, and you're really milking this too. And then she said Oppenheimer, and then as the Oppenheimer cast is getting up and having their moment, you can hear him clear as day on stage still going, I didn't milk that too much, right?
There's a live mic on the stage. Wow. But yeah.
Here's the funny thing. The cast of Oppenheimer is so fucking big. It wasn't until the show was over I even realized Matt Damon, Rami Malek, and Florence Pugh weren't there. I was like, holy shit, so many of them are here. It didn't occur to me who wasn't there until the show was over.
Of course, we always love the time when Ashley just disappears in the middle of the show, and I am left to scramble for stuff.
Well, I can say one more thing about Oppenheimer, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I still wonder what's going on with the choice of cast. Like when you look at Wikipedia and you see the cast list, that's obviously not all of them, and it's like we're assuming the ones listed on Wikipedia are the only ones that actually get trophies. But I guess since like Damon and Pugh and Malik weren't there, there were other, like, so you had like Benny Safdie and David Krumholtz like holding trophies, but it's like, so do they get those or do they not get those? Like, it's kind of cruel to give them trophies for the photo op and then say, well, you don't get these, despite the fact that Krumholtz and who did I just say, Benny Safdie are like in most of the movie. But
well, it's like
Casey Affleck with his one scene is there with his trophy, and he's on the list. But it's
so I don't know how the Oscars do it. I don't know how SAG does it. I don't know how their award shows really do it. But I do remember for the MTV Movie Awards, which I know are low on the totem pole for obvious reasons, they kind of give you the award on stage, but it's not engraved yet. So after you get off stage, you give it back, and then they send it to you when it's engraved and it's ready to go.
Yeah, I was thinking I wasn't sure, but I was thinking the Oscars might be the only show where you literally have the same one all night and get it engraved right there.
Right, that's correct.
And say still, it just feels like to hand a trophy to Benny Safdie or David Krumholtz and say, hey, make sure Matt Damon gets that.
So, like Ashley alluded to, this was a 3-way tie with 11 points.
I would have lost this outright had it not been for my pull out my ass. Yeah, let's go with Oppenheimer. Let's will it to be true for a change, and holy shit, it might be happening, everybody.
I had a hell of a narrative for Barbie in that circumstance, but I've come to the realization, and this is a fan, obviously, everyone knows my appreciation for Greta's work and always will be. And the next time, I think she's actually finally going to get her director award. But the thing is, Barbie this year is going to walk out with Billie Eilish and maybe a tech or two. And that's just the world we live in.
Well, certainly on the costume.
I was almost, we're getting kind of ahead of ourselves, but I was almost heading towards Eilish might be it.
It's possible.
Even like Poor Things is really trying to put a stop to it getting any text.
I mean, the costume mixed it up at least because both Poor Things and Barbie won in their respective categories.
Mm.
Yeah.
I still find it weird that Barbie's considered sci-fi or fantasy, but there you go. Especially when it's supposed to be set in the real world.
Basically, it's not a sucker bet to go with either one.
Yeah.
They're both believable to win.
Yeah, because I thought they were gonna fight to the death for costumes and production design, but Poor Things has done. I mean, it's still not impossible for Barbie, but Poor Things has done noticeably well so far in those categories.
I think its best absolute case scenario at this point is an outstanding performance on the stage from two of the most iconic songs from the movie, and a win at least one time, and they could walk away with a tech or maybe two techs at the very best case scenario. There is not another best case scenario for Barbie at this point. Because I think everybody's going to be more talking about Ryan Gosling's performance or Billie Eilish's performance than they're going to be talking about the fact that Barbie walked away with nothing.
Yeah, they'll have the two performances and the potential Eilish win.
Right.
And so if Lily Gladstone is going to take it, are production design and costumes the Poor Things consolation awards, or am I forgetting one? Maybe makeup.
Possibly if they don't give it to Maestro.
Yeah, that one's gonna be really close.
I mean, scores maybe a shout.
I will have seen by then, so I can actually make my commentary on Maestro after Friday.
I would have thought Score would be a race for somebody, but Goranson's run away with it quite a bit so far.
I guess it doesn't help, but it also won at the Grammys. But then again, Paul Finland wasn't at the Grammys. So.
Yeah. Well, the score of Oppenheimer is also such a star of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of Oppenheimer's power comes from that score, especially the finale. So it just makes perfect sense.
All right.
I guess why I love Oppenheimer so much is you look at every single category and it's exceeding in every aspect. Like, there's nothing in that movie that falls behind or is not adding to the whole picture in a really significant way.
Right.
I know people are probably tired of Oppenheimer praise at this point watching these award shows, but I will give it more and I don't care. Like I said, I'm not normally in this position where the movie that's sweeping everything is the movie I feel this way about. So I'm basking in this for the next 2 weeks as much as I can.
Maybe I'll get my time down the line. It's been a while.
I'll briefly go through some of chat. And also, thank you for reminding me, Bri. I will add it into the description later, but I feel before we get to the spirits, we will discuss the WGA nominations from this past week as well in here. So Spencer says, hey, hey, hey. Are you ready for some crazy taxi? Is that whenever I see three hays like that together, I was like, I can't do the voice because my I don't know if I'm coming down with something, so otherwise it'll be like the rest of the show will be like I'll lose my voice. So. Mr. Dolan is so dominate. Who the hell is even second?
There isn't one. Seriously, there's not. There is literally no competition. Nolan's only competition he has right now is he's not a guarantee for screenplay.
If Oppenheimer wasn't this year, I would guess. Well, I was gonna say Lanthimos, but I kind of don't want to count Trier out of this hypothetical scenario.
Cord Jefferson, if he was in the race, but that's not a thing.
Do we have Spielberg and Lucas present the award to Nolan?
Oh, that'd be great. Make that happen.
I know we can't have it be Scorsese because that'd be awkward if he's presenting the award to himself. But it feels like for Nolan's career and everything, they're gonna get some people out, and it's like an exceptional film.
I don't know. I don't know why that image was just so funny to me of Scorsese being on stage during his own category.
And the winner is me.
No, I mean have it be Spielberg and Lucas is tremendous booking, and I think that needs to happen. But they're gonna screw it up and do something like Catherine Bigelow and James Cameron. Just because.
I mean that would be epic in its own right. I know you disagree, but
no, I think it makes sense. Honestly,
they couldn't even get Cameron to show up last year, and his movie was nominated for Best Picture.
That's fair.
Well, he's too busy with Avatar 7 or wherever we are in the timeline. Spencer watched Pacific Heights for the 400th time last night. We in there. AJ, what's your favourite story in Night Shift and your least favourite?
The two that jump out at me are this is the Stephen King collection, I'm guessing. The Ledge, because it's insane to me. I mean, we already know that King is incredible, but to be able to make an entire story out of a guy on a ledge and as somebody with extreme crippling vertigo, that's even like it's impressive how much it puts you there. And the is it The Man Who Loved Flowers? It's only like 7 pages, and it starts off so simple and then gets so deranged in this really kind of subtle way, and then it's hard to explain, but that one is insane. I guess Jerusalem's Lot is the only one that's like not particularly gripping, which is the first one, which is hilarious.
What's your guys' year in advance best picture winner for 2024?
I hate doing this.
No,
Realistically, the only one that seems obvious to me is Nosferatu, just because there isn't a lot of stuff listed at the minute that I feel confident, is or isn't coming out. Because so many of these things only get confirmed probably, towards the summer, like May, June, in terms of releases. I am intrigued because I found out for the first time that Kevin Costner's doing a quadrilogy.
Yeah.
That trailer dropped this morning.
That, one's coming out in June, part 2's coming out like Christmas time or something ish, and then when the other ones are coming out, who knows?
Okay, fine. I'll give you a prediction. I'll do it right now. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I think Joker's going to do well. I think we're getting nominations for both Phoenix and Gaga. I feel like it runs for screenplay. It's going to get in the picture race. I'll say that right now. I think Wicked will do well overall. It's going to sweep the Tech Awards when it comes to nominations. I don't know how well it's going to do on acting. It just depends. Maybe Erivo gets nominated, and people can get really say what they want about Ariana Grande, but this may be the performance she really needs to boost her career. Gladiator is a possibility.
The one thing I find fascinating is, with it now being a June release, what with the actors strike and everything, will Bike Rider still have the momentum it seemingly had, in the last few months of 2023?
Possible.
I do think some people are sleeping on Gladiator 2. Number one, we know it's not going to have that title, whatever it ends up being. Because obviously, right now people hear that title and they think it sounds stupid. But Ridley Scott's still doing it. Paul Mescal's already playing an in-universe character that we know. And people don't seem to be aware of this when they're doubting the movie. Fucking Denzel is in it. That's all I need to know. I don't think Denzel. I'm trying to think of the last thing Denzel made that was like shit. And the fact that he's reuniting with Scott is like, I mean, his performance of American Gangster is probably one of his higher tier ones, and this is Denzel. Like, his higher tier part is like most of his filmography, performance-wise.
The thing
I'm not saying I'm like, I'm not saying like it's my answer to this question. I'm just saying I think people are just seeing the title Gladiator 2 and are expecting something dumber than it's actually going to be. I think it's going to be a real, like, it's still going to capture some sort of the world of that first movie, especially with how long they spent making it. They were making it like forever.
Up until this week, my answer would have been Mickey 17. But with that now getting pushed to sort of January next year, I'm kind of gutted. But then at the same time, now you guys will know how I feel. Please tell me it comes out here in 2024. And it's going to be literally the opposite of when I do my bloody personal picks. It'll be like, yeah, I saw it. You didn't.
Oh, man. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. So, real quick, because I like to break the monotony of talking about movies with other things in general. So I just told you that the water park store started live today. I just saw the merch for the first time. Pray for my wallet, my friends.
Oh no.
I'm dropping over $3 and I can see that right now, guaranteed. And I have 2 nights of the thing, so yeah, I'm gonna spend some money.
So what you're telling me is you're hoping that you're Paul Giamatti in the Criterion Closet, and that you just get to put them in your bag, and then you don't have to pay.
Oh God, I don't want to know. I'm seeing 35, 50, 75. Oh God, I was add it up right now. Let's go. I'm gonna spend so much money.
Sorry, the way you're doing that, it's like the fucking auctioneers, like.
Yeah.
Total, not sold. It's total.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
before we started filming, before we started this, I said that I accidentally came across Arrow Blu-ray sale like yesterday.
Oh no.
Right.
Now Owen has said this. So Ashley, what are you doing to break your wallet this week?
Gee, me Christmas. I want one.
I don't want to reveal it publicly, but car parking. I'll discuss it with you guys afterwards, because, dear Lord.
75.
When car parking costs you £7 a trip, and you're on your 4th day of it.
85, 95, 95. Why don't I have a calculator handy?
I'm gonna go bankrupt because of parking. Son of a bitch. I'll finish off Spencer's stuff as well when we're here, and then for Josie and Bry's stuff, we'll do after the PGA and WGA talk. So yeah, if Oppenheimer wasn't released this year, what would the best picture winner be, and how would you think it would change the season? Ooh.
I still feel like the Holdovers might be doing better.
I think it would either be the Holdovers. I think it could be Poor Things. I think American Fiction would be in as well.
It's a really good year.
Yeah.
I think Killers would have done better overall.
Yeah, it's like you can tell it's a good year when we did our own nominees and winners for 3.5 hours, and I don't think there's any fat in that stream.
There really isn't.
I don't remember there being any. Maybe, but
was that 150 for those? Holy crap!
And then Spencer, I guess, goes through some of our what we didn't bring in our personal picks. Favorite costume design of the season. I kind of want to go with Barbie, just because there is God knows how much variety in the designs that you get.
It's kind of a lazy answer, but the first thing that pops in my head is Poor Things, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a more creative answer off the top of my head.
Favorite use of makeup and or hair. Oh.
I will stand. Honestly, I will defend that. I will die on that hill.
I don't know. I don't want to say, Defoe, because that seems a bit too obvious. I don't want to say Maestro, because that's a bit too obvious. I guess the makeup that they did for all the people being poisoned in Killers of the Flower Moon was very well put together. They didn't try and overhammer it.
I also didn't realize. Did Tandu Cardinal have makeup that made her look older? Because when I saw her at SAG, She looked a lot younger than she does in Killers.
Probably. Oh, Spencer goes favourite sound use in film of the year. The rah-rah stomping at the feet in an Oppenheimer. I don't know whether that's score
There's
or
that,
not, but I'm classifying it as sound.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I would probably say Oppenheimer for me, but I'm about to ruin Owen's night.
Oh.
Oh, and you know where this is going?
It's either the zone of interest.
Yes, I do know where this is going.
Since the last time we streamed, I have now finally seen the zone of interest.
Ah.
And I know it's an overdone cliche to say that a technical aspect of a movie is a character. I have no shame in saying that the sound in the zone of interest is a character. To my understanding, Glazer's idea was that the sound in the zone of interest is another movie entirely we're not seeing, basically. Like On the Other Side of the Wall is an entire other movie.
No, for sure.
That we're just hearing the sound of.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's constant it's one of those things where you would think it'd be one of those movies where it's like, okay, it's almost kind of too on the nose. But it's almost like the more it goes and the more it seems to be drilling the point in, the more it works. So that's what made me feel the most dumb about watching it was if I had seen it when we did our predictions, I would have put it in sound, no question. But I didn't because I hadn't seen it and I didn't realize just how much of a part the sound plays. For the love of God. So that's me. So yeah, between it and Oppenheimer, they're basically together. If I'm going to give you the cop-out answer.
Well, we're definitely going to go with a cop-out answer for score of the year. Because I think we're pretty much all agreed that Oppenheimer's probably the best score overall.
Yes, but also big shout out to Robertson for Killers of Flower Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Hendrix. It's a great year for scores, too.
John Williams, why are you here? I know you're old, but that isn't offensive. It's just why? 25th letter of the alphabet.
He's got a room of Oscars. I think he can take it. he can take a few people saying, dude, you don't need this nomination.
Spencer says, I think Frailty and Pacific Heights should be on Criterion right away. And then any new AJ segments coming soon. The people crave it, and by people I mean me. Don't out yourself, Spencer. Holy.
They're coming. I've seen. I actually saw Drive-Away Dolls too.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that soon. I think Drive-Away Dolls is going to be one of those ones that I'm figuring out in real time as I
Well, I know what I'm going to be interested.
It's like I genuinely don't know how I feel right now, but when I talk it out with myself, I'll figure it out.
I'll be interested to hear that when we go off air.
Obviously I have thoughts.
I know. Speaking of thoughts, we jumped to the PGAs. We're not doing it in order of how they did it because, I mean, I want to say interesting stuff happened, but we either all got it right or all got it wrong.
So here's the question, because there's no reason to talk about anything else. Are we under the impression that this was a surprise, or is this what was always supposed to happen and we've been blinded by something the entire season? Because obviously, who cares about movie and animated? Obviously, those are the good ones. We know that.
Yeah.
Those were always set in stone since day one, no matter what anybody
For
said.
those of you
I'm
that
talking
don't
about
track, for those of you that don't track the things, yes, Oppenheimer got best feature film, and Spider-Verse got best animated. But yeah,
there's no reason to talk about
documentary
that.
is the interesting bit.
What is going on with documentary? Have we been gaslighted to Mariupol all season and that was never the winner of the Oscar? Or is this just American Symphony getting its flowers too?
Well, American
I think
Symphony
20 Days
isn't
of Miracles.
even. Are we talking about that even though American Symphony isn't even in the Oscars?
That's the crazy thing. That means that the competition that it would have doesn't have any competition. That's the bizarre thing.
I think 20 Days of Miracles is going to be fine come Oscar time, and this is just a surprise.
Because there's nothing that can beat it. That was, if it would anything else would have won, this would have been over like completely. But you had something win that's not even in contention. But that's how these things go.
Yeah, but at the same time, at least in one case for two of us, but across all three of our predictions, when we tried to predict the nominations, the Michael J. Fox film, as well as American Symphony and Beyond Utopia, all got snubbed, despite wins in other categories and other guilds and other award ceremonies over the past, 2 to 3 months. So, usually, when we go to it, we always say, there's one big snub. But then if you actually look at, like, PGA's history over the last few years, they really haven't matched it that often.
Sure. And it can't
Mainly
this
because
year.
the one that goes through doesn't even, make it in. Okay, Navalny, Summer of Soul, and My Octopus Teacher did, but Apollo 11 didn't do anything in 2019. Won't You Be My Neighbor didn't do anything in 2018's list. Jane didn't do anything in 2017. OJ and Amy, I think both did, from what I remember. But I don't think Life Itself made it in for the Oscars that year, so not necessarily.
No, it didn't.
It's not necessarily a given. But and it's always been sort of in the hunt, American Symphony, because I think if I have a look at the other list, okay, we haven't done the editing. That's not that. I'm pretty sure it got something else. It wouldn't be makeup or visual effects. Sound editing? No, that hasn't happened yet. It was somewhere. I think might have been either the satellites or the other, like the Critics' Choice, where American Symphony won out. So I wouldn't say it hurts Mariupol in any way. At the same time, I think it means that maybe the other films, to some extent, have a chance.
I don't even see that.
I was gonna say I can't imagine any of those beating 20 Days of Mariupol, but documentary has gone completely random before,
for sure.
So
is this where we need to bring up what the hell was it? I'm trying to look for it in the list. Wow, it didn't even make it in the PGA awards, I don't think. What was it? The doping one, the bike one.
Yeah, Icarus.
Icarus didn't even get in PGA, but it won the Oscar. So
And what was that? That football one in 2011, I feel like came out of nowhere. Of course, I don't think we were following the races as closely then as we do now, but I remember that one coming out of nowhere. It felt like.
Have a quick check.
So it could be something like the Eternal Memory or something. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember. No, that's one I haven't caught yet, but it was on UK TV through the Storyville stuff. I think Bobby Wine might be as well, so I'm gonna have to quickly check out that. Oh yeah, so yeah, Undefeated from out of nowhere in 2011. Then again,
lived up to its title at least.
Looking at it, wow. So I'm looking at everything that was in the PGA list. Wasn't in the Academy list. There was literally nothing. A lot of, two big ones that stand out in the PGA list, Project Nim and Senna, two excellent films, didn't even make it. But we did get Paradise Lost 3, and If a Tree Falls, the story of the Earth Liberation Front, among other things. So PGA can
I remember
be
me
very
and
much
Owen
an outlier.
I remember me and Owen were especially annoyed because Undefeated was the only one we hadn't seen that year.
Right.
And I still haven't seen Undefeated.
Nice.
Oh, and looking into it, because they actually they do a short list of the finalists. Mariupol didn't even make it in the short list of PGA either. No, hang on. What the hell? Hang on. What was I reading?
I mean.
Oh no, sorry.
I'm still.
I make it back. I was looking at the Academy Award. I was looking at the wrong thing. It's a long day, everybody.
Press on.
Yeah. So, sticking with documentary, we'll transition over to WGAs. More proof that, anything means from anything. For documentary screenplay for WGAs, the nominees are Bella, It Ain't Over, the documentary about Yogi Berra, The Pigeon Tunnel, the documentary on John le Carré, and I guess the one that's the favourite, because AJ had it in his predictions but didn't make it, Stamped from the Beginning. But, I'm trying to remember if there's been, history of... I feel the last couple of years there's been a lot of ones that weren't even in there. Yeah, last year there was nothing. I guess Dissident for 2020. Oh yeah, The Inventor Out for Blood in Silicon Valley, which became God knows how many movies and TV series over the past 2 years. So there's some in there that sort of carry over. And then, so we said how, a lot of things were going to be ineligible for the adapted and original things. But looking at the list, I don't dramatically see anything that probably shouldn't be on the list. So for adapted, we have American Fiction, Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, Killers of the Flower Moon, Naiad, and Oppenheimer. Which I think is a strong list. As I say, the problem I have with Naiad is more stuff in direction and sort of things like that. I don't. If the script was written for it to jump about all over the time, maybe I do have a problem with it. But what if you sort of memento it and try and play it in order, I guess it might be better.
And as far as them having to pick one because they needed something eligible, having the context of Benning and Foster both getting in makes it not outlandish.
No.
That it made it doesn't feel completely random like it might have.
And for the first time in a while, I think they're all based on novels. Because, like in previous years, I guess we've had sequels in here, so that's where it sort of, at least I think. Yeah, because of course last year we had Black Panther, which was obviously a comic book, and then Glass Onion being based on the character from the first film, and She Said was based on a newspaper article as well as a book. So for the first time in a while, it's just books. Oh, sorry, I've got to get it right. One is a novel. Erasure is apparently a novel, not a book. I don't know what the difference is. And go ahead, Owen. You were gonna.
Yeah, I feel just looking at WGA's lineup, this is the only time I feel that Nolan may have a chance when it comes to screenplay because of the competition. And it's clearly Cord Jefferson, which is the competition. I feel that I would be really, really surprised if Jefferson doesn't win WGA. Yeah. Seriously. I don't see, I mean, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret could surprise. But
so they could do what they did in 2018 and just go completely rogue, especially since they're off the path of awards season now.
Yeah, but weirdly enough, they may end up deciding who wins between the three of us.
Yeah.
And then on the original front, where we continue the Barbie being in probably the wrong category, at least according to the Academy. Joining Barbie is Air, so at least it's getting its flowers.
Heck
the
yeah.
Holdovers, May December, and Past Life.
It's a tough one.
But you know, again, if that came up at the Oscars, I wouldn't say no to it. In all honesty,
I can't say anything about May December, but I mean, I know where you're coming from. Because I'll never see that movie because it's never coming to a theater, so I don't ever have to worry about it.
That's the thing that confuses me. Why are they do it for independent spirit, but they don't bother for the Writers Guild? Why have they not got a thing like saying Best New Writer? Or because they think they do that, then they curse them or something? Like they don't do anything except...
It's not a sports video game cover, Ashley. It's a different kind of curse.
Oh, is this where I have to do my joke that I was going to do to my friend? Like I went to the shop and got an early access copy of the new Madden game, which is coming out in like 5 months.
I'm the one who made him disappear this time.
No, it's Madden 25. Ignore it says 2014, and it's a PlayStation 3 game. But it's Madden 25, so it's gotta be the next game, right?
That's funny.
I'm intrigued what they call it, because if you go to a gaming shop and say Madden 25, technically that was on PS4.
So it's weird because original screenplay seems to be up in the air. All 5 could conceivably win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're not gonna go rogue, there's one clear one here, but they could.
We'll talk about her in a few minutes. Don't worry.
I think his name is David. He's a guy.
No, I'm talking about her.
I know who you're talking about.
We're talking about Spike Jones?
Yes.
Yeah. Take a shot.
Or something.
Oh God.
So yeah, that'll be interesting predictions in. Okay, it's April. Hang on, have they changed the date to that? Have they gone rogue on me? No, April 14th. Thank God. Panic over. I thought they went rogue. So yeah, join us for that in a month. God, if it gets to that, so what we've established is I need to maintain a 4-point lead before the WGAs. Otherwise, the end of our prediction game is going to be a month after the fact when we're going to be completely zoned out. We have to stay on tenterhooks.
I have done everything to try to win this season, and I'm not giving up.
Hell, I made a fair few decisions that I thought meant I was going to lose points. Some I did, but also some came clutch. So, you know, I might have to sort of throw this and make it more interesting. So yeah, we do drag it out to April the 14th. Right, some of Josie's stuff. First time watches since last. Mr. Rossi Looks for Happiness, The Uninvited, Mr. Rossi's Dreams. I also watched 1964's Failsafe, and Josie's pairing that with Oppenheimer. AJ, have you seen it and thoughts on it, and do you think it is a good fitting with Oppenheimer if you have seen it? That's my added thing, but...
Yeah, especially when you're talking about, like, thinking about the weight of what you're doing in that scenario. I think it was another one of those ones that I didn't have the understanding of movies that I do now when I saw it, so I'd probably appreciate it now much more. Like, I appreciate it much more in retrospect, remembering what it was about, than I do, like, the actual details of it. So, yeah, I'll have to do... Like I said, sometimes I marathon directors, and that's a Lumet movie, right?
I think so.
That would be that'd be a fun marathon to do. That'd have a lot of heavyweight movies in it.
Yeah, there's a few bits about Failsafe. The computer-generated image on the control room screen, including the map of the world, the planes, and the explosions, was entirely drawn and animated by hand. I would say that's Disney, but then it says below Columbia Pictures produced this and Dr. Strangelove. And the twist here is Kubrick insisted that his movie come out first, which it was in January of '64. And when Failsafe got released, it garnered a lot of good reviews, but audiences found it unintentionally funny. So was that Kubrick's fault, I guess?
I'd say that.
Because people were like, oh, it's, because there's similar subject matters.
I say it is funny when you think about those, which one got all the Oscar nominations.
Mm-hmm. Also was the film debut of Don DeLuise as well. Josie also rewatched Kung Pao. To create the
Owen's favorite movie of all time.
There's not many movies I have walked out of. Kung Pao Enter the Fist is a movie I literally walked out of.
There's a lot of stupid shit in that movie, but there's still some golden quotes in there that come out at random.
Part of me wants to get to April Fool's Day and put that in as my prediction, my selection for movie club.
That is my mom. Don't dare.
What would current Owen think of Kung Pao? Because we were talking the other day. I don't know. Forgive me if you said this in confidence, but we were talking the other day, and we were talking about the zone of interest.
He's back for a reason.
And we were talking about the zone of interest in Dune, and you were concerned. You were like, "Is my movie taste getting worse?"
Possibly.
But it's like, so I wonder what current Owen would think of Kung Pao.
I'm so annoyed.
What we need is to watch Owen watch Kung Pao live. That's what we need.
God.
We wanna watch Owen watch Kung Pao live and see if he never smiles the whole time.
God dang it.
Following on from last year's copyright success that was Who Killed Captain Alex.
I literally today got a notification from Gmail that we got another copyright claim and we are no longer allowed to monetize the Who Killed Captain Alex Me Watch video.
That's fine.
There are 3 songs now that have been copyrighted on that one.
To create the effect of bad dubbing, Odenkirk wrote a script of nonsensical dialogue for the actors to say. The real dialogue was dubbed during post-production. For example, when Chosen One says, "But isn't Betty a woman's name?" If you read his lips, it says, "But isn't Yahtzee a family game?"
There's actually a special feature on the DVD where you can hear the original track of what they're actually saying.
That sounds wonderful.
Odenkirk dubbed every actor except Jessica Tung, who was Woe, who dubbed herself.
Dear God.
AJ should be happy, but he's scared because he might have jinxed his favourite movie this year. Voting ends tomorrow for the Oscars, so maybe it isn't a curse.
There's
Brian.
no way. AJ's curse supersedes this. There's no way. But here's my question. We're in the world where the best supporting Randolph has always gone to Randolph. And we joke about making the best supporting Randolph line and the fact that it's just chugging along. I made this point when we were talking about the artist. The Berenice Bejo was the one who would not go along. And everybody else seemed to be getting everything. The Berenice never went anywhere. Here's my question. What happened in the award season, and AJ, I pose this to you, that did not let Emily Blunt go along with everything when it came to Oppenheimer?
Here's the thing.
Because I know you have thoughts on this, and this has been running in my head, and I wanted to bring this up tonight because I'm sick and tired of throwing me under the bus. So at the end of the day, I wanted to do something of my own. I kind of wanted to give you a chance to be able to put over the performance that deserves to win when it can't win, and the movie is winning nearly everything it's nominated for. Not everything, of course. And it's going to, and it's just a certainty at this point. But one of the performances that could be going along for the ride is getting left in the dust, and I want to know why.
Well, there are people who say they don't even know why Blunt was nominated.
Okay, I haven't heard
and
that.
It's
like you follow different circles than I do.
That it's it's basically a background part, and she doesn't really do anything. After having seen the movie again recently, I haven't even put it back on the shelf yet. That's how recently I've watched it again.
Nice.
Say people are entitled to their opinions.
Sure.
And I accept those opinions. But to say that she does nothing and that she's unworthy of being nominated, while it's an opinion that is totally acceptable, because that's what we do here, is just kind of nonsense to me. Like, it makes no sense that you could watch that performance and say that. Like,
sure.
It just doesn't register that that's an opinion many people could have. And I don't know how to respond, quite honestly, other than... Because even also, I pointed out, when we did our lineups video, our personal picks video, I highlighted the scenes when she says, like, when she's right up in his face, or the hearing scene, or the scenes where she's just silently watching him fuck Florence Pugh in her mind. She has more big scenes than I even remembered in that moment. Like, as it goes forward, she's the only one that knows it's Strauss, and she's like screaming from the hilltops. Will everybody realize that Strauss is the villain and nobody's listening?
Sure.
And it gets stronger as it goes, the big moments and the small moments. And it's like, anytime somebody brings up Randolph, they bring up the same scene.
Sure.
Which is really funny. It's really funny that it's that scene, because I even said way back in the award season, it feels like that scene is cut off. Like Payne, like I was already saying that. Then Payne mentioned it at the DGA thing, the DGA panel, where he wanted to make sure he cut things down so things didn't go too big. But yeah, whenever people bring up Randolph, the only scene they seem to bring up is when the way she delivers "He's Gone." Which, yeah, you know, sometimes all it can take is just one line delivery to completely blow your mind. And you could say that she did do that with that one delivery, where the scene didn't have to go bigger than that, and she accomplished that.
So in that wording,
and like I said, there's this.
In that wording,
there's the scene right before that.
If they don't use the "He's Gone" bit for the Oscars thing, you'll be a bit surprised.
Yeah, her SAG clip was just saying, yeah, like the kid thinks you're an asshole.
I agree.
All right. But yeah, I talked before that if you want another quiet moment with Randolph, it's the one right before He's Gone, where she's listening to the record. Sure. And so you can see like her emotions like switch very quickly to like one like she's just kind of in the moment, and then it's just very. But yeah, I don't know. And like I said, I don't want it to sound like I prefer big to small. But it's just I just don't understand the people worthwhile. Like that just doesn't.
Sure.
It just doesn't go through.
I get it.
So I don't know.
Going back briefly to some Kung Pao stuff. The cow fight scene is inspired by a TV commercial from the Swiss Milk Producers Association, which clearly can't just be that because Forrest Law from Tekken fights and loses to his pet cow, Lovely. Okay.
I love that Tekken references are like one of the very few video game references I actually understand.
I'm still amazed. I'm still amazed where they have Blibin King, you know, the guy that puts a leopard on his head. You know, going to his orphanage and getting surrounded by live action kids with this, you know, 2D polygon king from like 1997. Like, oh yes, I'm hugging you. The orphanage has done well because I won the tournament. And like, this just looks like Uncanny Valley, and not in a good way. It just looks like didn't age well. Most, if not all, the races seems pretty sewn up as boring as sweeps and surprises can be. I think Oppenheimer's victory is a deserved one. It's a modern masterpiece and a new American classic. But it's British. It was literally written by a Brit. Oppenheimer's victory helps the reputations of the rest of its competition over time. Poor Things will become a classic over time. Holdovers is a new Christmas classic. Killers at the Flower Moon is a new American classic. Anatomy of a Fall is a new essential courtroom drama. Zone of the Interest is an essential Holocaust film. What does that make Barbie?
I mean, I assume it's going to have. I'm prepared for Oppenheimer to have Dances with Wolves syndrome, where it's obviously in its own right, you know, the winner, and for a reason. But you literally cannot bring up Goodfellas. Dances with Wolves beat it. And it's like it's always going to be that thing where once you win Best Picture, you're automatically overrated. Is basically how film discourse goes.
Yeah, I can't wait for everybody going, what's the deal with Parasite? And I'm like, did you watch it? Did you? Are you just going by what you saw on Wikipedia?
I do love that so far, it does seem like Parasite is one of the few movies that was immune to that for a while.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to suddenly turn. Probably if Mickey 17 isn't like really a good film, it would be like, yeah, he's never done anything good. Barbie has to be a classic because it's already getting throwback releases at my local cinema, even though it didn't even come out a year ago and it's considered a throwback. Okay. I mean, I don't.
It's like the equivalent. It's the equivalent of those Reddit threads where it's a movie from 3 months ago and they say it still holds up.
I mean, there's other cinemas that are just re-releasing it because they're doing the whole idea of it's a Best Picture nominee sort of thing. They're not just outright calling it a throwback, sort of like, because the other sort of throwbacks like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or Goodfellas, or stuff from at least 20 years ago, not 9 months. Josie also saw Perfect Days on Saturday. Wonderful movie about mindfulness and living in the present moment. Oh, here we go. Cillian Murphy trivia. This is what I'm talking about. Planning a career in law until he discovered acting. Good friends with Colin Farrell and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. Has been in 6 films with Brendan Gleeson. Sweetie Barrett. That's a different thing. 28 Days Later. Cold Mountain. Breakfast on Pluto. Perrier's Bounty. And In the Heart of the Sea. I keep forgetting Murphy was in that. When I think of that film, I just basically think of Gleeson and Hemsworth. And that's about it. It's like, I know there were other people in Master and Commander, but all I see is Russell Crowe on the front poster.
I just remember that giant standee. That's all I remember about that movie.
Bryce says it's hot.
All I know is that I'm not catching a lot of this, so what's probably about to happen remember the scene in The Whale where Fraser finally turned his webcam on and then he threw the laptop across the room? Oh. I think you're about to see that from the perspective of Fraser's student.
Oh, Bryce said it's hot chocolate, not coffee. Did Lavazza go that bad?
I know. I knew that in my head. I was like, somebody's gonna correct me.
Hold on. Okay, you're saying Lavazza is not coffee? Is that what you're trying to say? Oh hell yeah, it's coffee.
When I made
sold it at Regal.
When I made the Polar Express reference is what he's talking about.
I must have completely missed that. I've been trying to figure out how much money I'm spending at water parks, so I'm probably like useless right now.
When it just says it's hot chocolate, not coffee, I was just thinking of the scenes from Full Monty. God bless Tom Wilkinson. Murphy was pegged to play the lead in Once. This didn't materialize when he was hired for another project. That would have been interesting.
I don't have words for that, and I don't think it would work at all.
If only Rachel McAdams was nominated.
It would have. Well, as he mentioned in his speech, Murphy was trying to be a musician before he really went into acting. So it probably. I think it's the. Glenn and Marquetta do have a chemistry that you can't really imagine being
anybody else.
But I think even if it wouldn't have been that, I do think he still would have done really well.
Once again, Josie says if only Rachel McAdams could have been nominated for a Red Eye reunion at SAG. Oh, we've got some Poor Things trivia.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, Brian Cox wasn't there anyway, so it wouldn't have worked anyway.
Fuck off. Every time before making a new film, Yorgos watches Seijun Suzuki's Branded to Kill to get inspiration. Interesting choice. Ruffalo had a lot of doubts about his performance during the shoot, often half joked that Oscar Isaac, who was filming on a nearby soundstage, was going to be called in to replace him. One day, Defoe pranked him by taking him to a room where Isaac was waiting. Isaac and Defoe informed Ruffalo he was fired and indeed getting replaced. Yes.
I like this.
Now I'm trying to.
I like knowing that it happened.
Now I'm trying to work out. Would that have been Isaac shooting? Maybe Nosferatu. Because he is in that, right? Or am I thinking about the other thing?
I don't remember him being on the cast of Nosferatu. I think I'd remember that if that was the case.
He was supposed. No, wasn't he supposed to be in one of those sort of? It's not Nosferatu. It's like the not Universal stuff. I can't remember. I need your roles. Oscar Isaac was in a video game. Oh, just Disney stuff. Oh, that's it. He's in Frankenstein. Del Toro's Frankenstein. Probably was that, I'd have thought.
Oh, God.
Although, now having looked at the Frankenstein page, and it says cast Jacob Elordi as the monster, make your own jokes there, everybody. As revealed in the Empire magazine issue from a few months back, Lanthimos gave Tony McNamara 3 films as reference for what he wanted the tone of and feel of the film to be. So that was The Ship Sails On from 1983, Belle de Jour, and Young Frankenstein. Yes! So you're telling me the inspiration actually for... I'm going to punch that baby is literally you take the blonde, I'll take the one with a turban. That's kind of genius. As character research, Rami Youssef trained with a mortician and took 5 classes on 1800 techniques. You probably only see me cut once when my character is doing Baxter's operation, but it wasn't about the screen time, it was about seeing the organs for the first time, having a sense of familiarity with them and placing myself within the story that way. Bella's character design was partially inspired by Egon Shelley's 1911 painting New Girl Standing with Long Black Hair and Blue-Black Drape. I wonder what was in that. A lot of production was inspired by genitalia. Of course it was. It's a Yorgos Lanthimos film. The phallic windows outside the brothel and the shirt, the costume department designed to be Yonic. The almighty Yonic. And I'll just mention it here just because it's random. Forbidden Entity. Don't mean to be rude, I'm just watching random streams. What's going on? Well, because you said what's going on, you've immediately fallen into the crazy frog trap. Bomb, bomb. Anyway, we'll get back to Killers of the Flower Moon trivia and other stuff from Josie and other people in. Well, I think other people in chat. Yeah, there's a few comments from Bry. But yeah, we'll finally get to what A.D. Bryant described as the bisexual Oscars. Which is a word that was used. For yes, Independent Spirit Awards time. Where we opened up... I mean, generally, A.D. did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that sort of semi-overshadowed it was the protesters outside doing the Palestine ceasefire messages and everything.
I need confirmation on something to make sure I'm not losing my mind. So my first thought was, oh my god, that telling you that whale scene's gonna happen. I was thinking, oh my god, that guy is like tireless. He can go for 2 hours. And then we learned that it was a recording through a megaphone that was going. Am I crazy, or did it go quiet for Jeffrey Wright's speech before starting up again?
It did.
Because
It definitely did.
Because I kind of joked to myself where it was like, maybe because we still didn't mind it was going on, what was going on. So my thought was, oh, maybe it's just Jeffrey Wright's fan base.
Well, yeah,
But
the stuff that I'm reading about it, at least on Wiki, is it was one person that was holding a loudspeaker and standing on the outside part of the barricade, apparently, with security guards trying to reason with the protester. But they didn't actually stop him, which, even the Film Independent president basically acknowledged, we embrace the First Amendment and freedom of speech. And then, of course, Babak Jalali, which we'll get to in a minute for his win, and Kelly Reichardt in her speech for the, the audience, well, the Special Achievement Award, or whatever you want to call it. But then the other thing, one of the New York Times reporters spoke to the protester but refused to give a statement, saying that he was part of the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. So I'm not saying that maybe that's why he went a bit quiet during Jeffrey Wright's bit, I don't know. But then also elaborated that because he worked for the New York Times, the New York Times complicit in misinformation. So, that's where he stood on that issue, I guess.
right. I also wasn't sure. I also wasn't sure if this was them protesting outside the Spirit Awards, or if it was just near enough to where it could be heard. But
that's what happens when you have a tent on a beach.
Yeah.
That's what may or may not happen. So we start off with the best supporting Randolph.
Yeah, we did. Best supporting Randolph.
Did a good job. And then the first solo point for AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Going with the right person from The Last of Us. I guess it makes sense because, mild spoilers, Nick's the one that's alive. Nick Offerman's hang on. Do I have it? Yeah, Bill survives it, Frank doesn't.
Ashley, of course,
Nick did a very good speech as well, being very much, saying, there's too much anti-gay sort of rhetoric online and whatever, and people should just be loved and everything.
Yeah, I went with the wrong character from The Last of Us. Honestly, if I would have just saw Offerman's name and didn't see Murray Bartlett's on there, I probably would have went with Offerman. So that's on me for not paying attention close enough. When there's 35 people nominated for the award, it's kind of hard to try to pick a winner. So, especially when you don't care at all about television.
Yeah, you expressed this in the video, and I'm on the same page of this. As of yet, there's not much of a reason to do this combining categories thing.
I hate it. I absolutely despise it.
Yeah.
Then we have Best Documentary. Another point for AJ, as Four Daughters did get the win there. They did sadly go obvious and go with the Oscar contender.
Yeah.
And then myself and Owen got back in the race.
Yes.
As Kayvon Montreal Woodard won for breakthrough performance for their portrayal as Sam from Last of Us.
Mm.
Which was a very powerful performance for I think it was a one episode deal, like it was sort of with the Murray Bartlett and Nick Offerman sort of deal. Then points for us all again, as unsurprisingly, Anatomy of a Fall got Best International Film.
Much deserved.
Then, I'd say also unsurprisingly, because of the build-up and hype that it had, May December gets Best First Screenplay for Sammy Birch's Job. Although I'm still working out why she didn't bring up Kyoto versus Acme, but there we go.
She did say something, I can't remember what it was now, but something along the lines of like she was trying to keep what she was saying in line with independent spirit. So I wonder if it occurred to her like, well, if I bring up my, big studio movie, that might be going against the indie spirit of what's going on here.
Yeah, but at the same time, it feels like it's going to have to be somebody with a lot of money from an indie thing that's going to come in and save that film to try and distribute it. Sadly. We stick with screenplay, though, and apparently my BAFTA trend continues, and American Fiction did get screenplay. Which was nice to see. AJ went with Holdovers, Owen went with Past Lives.
Hey, I wasn't wrong when it came to saying Past Lives is going to have a good night.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Spirit Awards sway anything, but that's a pretty big win for Core Jefferson with that competition.
Yeah.
Then they did the Best Ensemble presentation for Jury Duty. I then noticed in Eric's notes from being at the venue, there's a loud protest happening just outside the tent, but it's also incoherent, so nobody knows what they're protesting. Oh, that good job. Then Best Non-Scripted Series, point for Owen, as Dear Mama did get the win for that one.
Yeah, I was happy with that.
Myself and AJ both going with Stolen Youth. And then, I guess unsurprisingly, because... Oh, no, wait. Owen did go against the trend.
I did, because I thought the Spirit Awards of all things would be the one that would kind of try to buck the trend, but no.
What would have happened if Pedro made it in, though? That might have made it a 3-horse race.
I think Pedro would have had a lot more votes if that would have been the case.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ali Wong won for the beef.
Know anything about beef, but this makes me very not interested in saying it.
Which then led to beach people like that were supposed to look like Ken showing up. Because, that epitomizes independent spirit, acknowledging Barbie. And then this is technically... It was even brought up in the guy's speech. This might be the end of the beef love, because this is like the last major award show that they're going to get anything for. This will be the last time until they reunite, probably in a few years, because somebody will do it. Here's the cast from Beef. You remember that show? Remember the first season when it was good, and then people didn't like the second series? I fear that's what will happen, because that's what usually happens with Netflix stuff. But yeah, we all went with Beef, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Then we went to the techs, the couple of techs that we have. Best editing did go to How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
That was a mistake. I think I was just trying to
right.
will I liked into existence.
It was a nice little speech from Garber as well that I did manage to catch. And as also Eric said, the irony of this winning with the protest outside, the sort of eco-terrorism, and they were protesting in the film as well. It's sort of ironic. And then Owen got another one right as well, as the Holdovers did get cinematography. And then the sort of, I think it's the only one we missed on. Yeah, it's the only one of the categories where we didn't get it, which annoyed me because when they showed the clips in the John Cassavetes Award nominees thing, the only one that really got cheered is the one that won.
Yep. I remember that.
Fremont was the one that got a lot of like whooping and hollering from the crowd, and not much else. Was like, oh. But I guess I knew that I shouldn't have gone with Unknown Country on that front, just because I guess it would be, considering that this is the year that Lily herself was like president for the year of the awards, it'd be a bit misanthropical, whatever the word is, that like in the year that she's president, she wins an award in the John Cassavetes thing. Because I think was she involved in producing it or just the writing? No, she was just writer on it. I didn't know whether that would be seen, as like, well, you just gave an award to yourself. Which is probably why I didn't go with it. But I was wrong with Gadeo Blanco. They then ran through the first of the ones that we already knew about, with Monica Sorrell, the director of Mountains, getting the Someone to Watch award. Then in another not surprise, Dominic Sessa got breakthrough performance for The Holdovers. We all got that right. Although it was nice to hear the big cheer for Marshawn Lynch for Bottoms.
Agreed.
They then had the Producers Award little mini package with Monique Walton talking about being a producer. Like, okay. Then the Robert Altman Award showing up, which I kind of am intrigued by that film. It does seem, interesting. And it also is,
When
the amount of stuff that Kelly's now done with Michelle is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I was trying to think while the speech was going on, and off the top of my head, Night Moves and First Cow are the only Rygar movies I can think of that she's not in. Is that it?
Ooh, I think so. Hang on.
Oh wait, so she has her two early River of Grass and Old Joy. She's not in.
No,
those are Rygar movies, right?
Yeah, Wendy and Lucy.
Once they started with Wendy and Lucy, I think it's only been Night Moves and First Cow she hasn't been in. Unless I'm forgetting something.
Hang on. I need to go to Michelle Williams' filmography.
Another thing I was going to bring up about Breakthrough is it occurred to me that the Breakthrough performances had clips. Not only is the combining categories thing not a great idea, it's also the reason we're not getting clips for any of them.
Yeah.
Because they want to do it more swiftly. So that's another reason you should probably split the categories back up so it feels like an actual fucking show. But maybe that's just me.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, that is right in terms of the 4 films that she's been in.
Okay.
Then for Best First Feature, I think we all got that right in going with 1001.
We did.
I mean, it was the one that stood out sort of in the early runnings anyway, so. Then the True and Fiction Award went to Seth Hernandez for Director of Unseen. And then Best Director itself went to Celine Song for Past Lives.
Oh, yeah.
All of Us Strangers gets nothing. Andrew Haigh gets nothing. So there. And then, I guess in a semi-obvious direction, Jeffrey Wright gets Best Leading Performance. Point for AJ there.
I should have.
Well, as Eric Anderson pointed out of the list, Jeffrey Wright's the only one that was in the Oscars. We should have seen it coming.
God, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking like, oh, I don't know. The Independent Spirit Awards. I'm on AJ's train when it comes to the fact that this needs to be announced like before anything else, just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Then we'd
See if
see
they have the
real winners, not just hey, this won everything else. Okay, fine, let's check it. Let's go.
Yeah, the one I still kind of raise an eyebrow at is the holdovers and cinematography. I feel like would have been different.
Probably. I'll take the point though. I needed it.
And then
yes,
Best Feature Film did not go with American Fiction. It did go to Past Lives.
as it should.
Nice.
So with that, AJ won out 12 points to 11 for the both of myself and Owen.
Yep.
Which means, as we get into the bit where we pay attention, the subtotals are AJ and Owen are on 75 and I am on 78.
Well, I guess since I'm not in last now, I can give a big thank you to Jeffrey Wright for making it that way.
That or Four Daughters.
Or
Nick Offerman. Let it be Parks and Rec. Nick Offerman, please. Yeah.
To be fair though, no one's technically in last place because there is not a last place because it's that close when it comes to second place.
Yeah.
So there is no last place. We're just not beating Ashley right now. We need to rectify this.
See, this is where I have to now work out. Do I just go really boring and purposely pick what AJ does to force Owen to, be the risky one? Or at the same time, do it in such a way so I maintain my 3-point gap, but by also doing risks. And then when it gets to WGA, I just copy you guys. So I'm trying to work out what I'm doing. I might make it interesting and purposefully. I mean, I won't purposefully lose, but I'm going to try and see if there's something that's going to be shaking up the order and everything.
One of the things we're going to get to talk about when we do our Oscar predictions is something that most channels don't cover, and that's going to be the fact we're going to talk about the shorts. Because by then, most of us have seen all of the shorts, at least impartial.
I've only just noticed this because I know Bri did mention that I'm guessing later on this week we'll be getting our first list of who's presenting.
We actually have a couple things already.
Somebody hasn't updated the Wikipedia page, thanks to Eric's Twitter. The list we have so far.
There we go.
I mean, there's a couple of obvious ones and why they're there. So we have Mahershala Ali, Nicolas Cage, Jamie Lee Curtis, Brendan Fraser, Jessica Lange. So maybe that's picture territory. Who knows? Matthew McConaughey, Lupita Nyong'o, Al Pacino, another potential person to present Best Picture. Michelle Pfeiffer. Does that mean we're getting a Scarface reunion? Maybe. Ki Kwan, Sam Rockwell, Michelle Yeoh, and Zendaya as Michi.
Okay, so the acting categories aren't gonna. So we're finally getting like all the acting categories are gonna be who we expect for once.
Yes.
I love when
The
that
four
happens.
winners from last year are gonna be presenting, hopefully, to their respective ones for this year.
Yeah, I love when that happens. We can actually do it the traditional way.
Yeah. And yeah, as we previously mentioned, the I'm Just Ken confirmation.
Yep. Does that mean we're getting a Becky G performance too?
Who's that?
That would be the person that does the Diane Warren song.
Ah.
Oh, Beef Season 2 may interest you two guys. Supposedly, it's revolving around two couples involved in a beef. One of which is Anne Hathaway and Jake Gyllenhaal. And the other on the sort of rising stars front, Callie Spaney and Charles Melton.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
This is the third couple that Gyllenhaal and Hathaway have played after Brokeback and Love and Other Drugs.
Yeah.
Yes.
As Eric put, order number 3 with extra beef. So.
God.
And also the Academy's officially split short films and feature animation into two separate branches.
I don't think I would have known they were a combined branch.
Yeah, after watching the animated shorts this year, that makes sense. A lot of sense.
Oh, and Eric's also put up the trailer for part 1 of Costner's thing, so I'll catch that later. Anyway, to the rest of the stuff, some Killers of the Flower Moon trivia. De Niro was irked by DiCaprio's frequent ad-libbing, according to Scorsese. Every now and then, Bob and I would look at each other and roll our eyes a little bit, and we'd say, "You don't need that dialogue." It also marks Lithgow's first collaboration with Scorsese, and the fulfillment of a priority bucket list item that Lithgow had entertained over the years. Even though that Devil Wears Prada reunion did come with one of AJ's least favourite actresses, Ham Hathaway.
It continues.
I don't dislike Anne Hathaway at all. Just certain performances aren't my cup of tea. Like Eileen, for instance.
You're not alone on that one, sir.
While Molly was 10 years older than Ernest, Lily Gladstone is 12 years younger than DiCaprio. And that's where I need to bring up that awesome bit from the Super Bowl when Buddy... who is it that voices SpongeBob?
Tom Kenny.
Tom basically was like, DiCaprio was in the crowd, 25, and that's just the age of the people he dates. And like, that made it to air on Nickelodeon. Like, kids would not get the hell out of that. A number of unknown musicians also have notable roles in the film. Jason Isbell from the country's world plays Bill Smith. Sturgill Simpson plays Henry Grammer. Charlie Musselwhite, blues guy, plays Alvin Reynolds. Pete Yorn plays AC Kirby, and Jack White's in it as well.
So, to jump all over Ashley's comment here, me and Howard went to go see Jason Isbell last year. Fantastic performance. If you get a chance at that type of music, if you dig like the folksy style, like country music, it's fantastic stuff. And he's great in the movie. A short screen time.
Soundtrack includes the song Lovesick Blues. Although the 40s version by Hank Williams is the most well known, the song actually does date back to the 20s and written for a musical called Oh Ernest. Borgnine? In 2004, Lily Gladstone's high school classmates voted her as most likely to win an Oscar. So will it come true 20 years on? Some of the scenes shot near Fairfax, Oklahoma used a plot of land that was also used for Twister and its sequel. Josie had some various songs. I won't bring them up, Josie, because it sort of seems a little bit too random. Although apparently, one I will signal out: in middle school, a friend of mine joked instead of "Move Along" by the All American Rejects, which she heard today, it's actually "Mow the Lawn." Or you gotta keep it strong, mow the lawn like I know you'll do.
Yeah, just as long as it's not sinister, you're fine.
Yeah, it's like it's the Peter Kay joke, dancing, dancing queen, feel the meat and the tangerine. You can dance in your underpants.
What in the blue hell are you talking about?
Bryce says a sympathetic win, like how Ana de Armas was a sympathetic Oscar nomination she got from the actors branch on how they felt sorry for her on doing everything that she had to do for Blonde. Speaking of Harry Belafonte, Banana Boat was also on the radio today. Deo. AJ, how would Sandra Hüller's character Anatomy of a Fall fare with Judge Trudy?
I don't have it. No.
Is that an Amanda Show reference?
It certainly sounds like one to me.
That has occurred.
She might have cracked under the pressure of Judge Trudy, to be totally honest with you.
Cillian Murphy as Eddie Redmayne and Rami Malek, and Paul Giamatti as Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. I wouldn't go that far, because
I heard a lot. I heard a lot of names, but I couldn't tell what you were actually saying.
I think it's like looking at Oscar stuff. Cillian Murphy is Eddie Redmayne and Rami Malek, and Paul Giamatti is Michael Keaton and Christian Bale. I guess in those years, maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but then again, Murphy's playing an American, whereas the others were playing. Well, I guess no. Technically, Freddie was a Zanzibarian, or whatever we call. Blunt, Jeffrey Wright, Emma Stone, Giamatti, and a few others have done voices in animated films, but Murphy hasn't done one before. It'd be cool to see him do it. If he was going to do an animal in an animated film, what animal would you like to see him voice? If Bateman wasn't available, I wouldn't mind seeing him be Nick Wilde, or not Nick. Is it Nick Wilde from Zootropolis, Zootopia?
Yeah. Jason
I don't know. Nick Wilde is so inherently Bateman. It's hard to imagine anybody.
I know, but I feel like that sort of thing. I'm trying to think if Murphy. I don't think there's anything outright.
I could see him doing like a sinister animal, maybe not at the level of a Shere Khan type of animal, but something like that, or animal type of character.
Oh no! Apparently he did. Although I don't know whether it hasn't actually released yet. It was part of the London Film Festival and it came out in France earlier this month. There's an animated film called Kensuke's Kingdom with a boy swept overboard during a storm on a World War X tip with his family, which so happens to be Sally Hawkins and Cillian Murphy. Washes ashore on an island in the Pacific Ocean. While there, he realizes somebody's nearby aiding him with survival, which is voiced by Ken Watanabe. There's a good cast, and it's a Michael Pergo book, and it's a Frank Cottrell voice script. So we do actually have an animated film. It's coming out to be confirmed, I guess, Josie. Lily Gladstone, I hope, will get more career opportunities after Killers of the Flower Moon. I could see her doing animated film voices. Can we not just relegate her to doing animated stuff? Please.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I guess it did to a degree. I remember when Certain Women came out, people were saying she should break out. But then I guess I'm pretty sure Certain Women was what Scorsese saw to make him cast her. So I guess you could say Certain Women did it, but yeah, hopefully we actually do this time see her like take on like a wide range of parts too.
She did have those few appearances as well in Billions a couple of times as well. Oh, Bryce says it happened last year with Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, true. Because Blanchett got BAFTA, did she? And Critics' Choice, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, so pretty much
yeah.
the same. That's awkward. Joe says, I forgot to mention this week I bought 4Ks of Clue and Oppenheimer. Also, rest in peace, Buddy Duress from Good Time. I still wish that McNamara could win Adapted Screenplay for Poor Things. I still say the success of Poor Things could open the door for success with Yorgos's next film, Kinds of Kindness. I mean, I feel that the thing that for the favourite put him on the map, really, and everybody now looks forward to what he does, even though, you know, of course Emma Stone's in it, although admittedly this one she isn't producing, like with Poor Things, so but we'll see. You know, of course Willem Dafoe's there, but we're now adding Margaret Qualley to the mix and Jesse Plemons and Hong Shao, so it's a good list. I'd love it if Song for My People got original song. And Bryce says, you know, the Song for My People pulls an upsetting song. I mean, there's a potential because I'd argue if Gladstone doesn't win actress, there's a small chance that Flower Moon won't go away with anything either, which would be big.
Yeah, I guess we pretty early jumped on the Billie Eilish and Finneas are probably winning their second one. But I suppose Song could still be open.
It could.
We don't really have anything to prove it's going in any direction.
I will be interested by the conspiracy theory people. If Billie Eilish doesn't win, and because of that Barbie doesn't get anything, because of Diane Warren, because they actually decide to give it to her this year. She will get so much hate from the Barbie people. Like, whoa, no. Bry also says expect Halle Berry or Nicole Kidman to show up to present at the Oscars because that just happened. Also, Bry, I keep forgetting that this is coming out, probably because it's on Apple and we don't know if it's coming out. But Megapolis, or Megalopolis, Coppola's Lost in La Mancha. Dare I say it?
I just have a feeling it's gonna be one of those things. It's gonna be like The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, where it's like it finally comes out and then nobody knows.
Poor Things is a lazy answer, but will be my winner too, though. Shout out to the costumes in Asteroid City and Taste of Things. I think that's when we're talking about, you know, the costume stuff earlier. Love the makeup in Beau is Afraid. Cillian Murphy was born on the wrong day. He should have been born a day later, just saying. Yeah, Murphy was born on May 25th, the same birthday as Ian McKellen. All these people are born the wrong. Ray Stevenson, Ethan Suplee, Mike Myers, Jackie Weaver, Octavia Spencer, and Frank Oz. All these people were born a day too early. Please. 2011 had the best Oscar lineup for documentary feature. Like, had 4 out of 5. The one I didn't like, Undefeated. There it is. Who'd win in a drinking game? Emily Blunt's Kitty from Oppenheimer, or Kirsten Dunst's character in Power of the Doogie Howser?
Kitty could still function.
Yeah.
Dunstan Power of the Dog was pretty far gone. So probably her. Well, are we talking about? I don't know how to gauge like what as far as better drinking, like who's gonna pass out first, or who can hold it better, or.
Josie makes a very good point, which, I should have realized ages ago. Why have we not seen Cillian Murphy yet in a Martin McDonagh picture?
I'm afraid he's gonna work with his brother first, because this may be an unpopular opinion. His brother's movies, none of them have really. I've never really taken to one of his movies yet, especially not in the way I have Martin's.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for some reason I can see him working with his brother first, and I don't know why I think that.
Murphy's next project is a thing called Small Things Like These that looks interesting. And also Hippie Shake, which is a Lee Hall script, and I like his stuff.
That has been on his IMDb page since like 2007.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's supposedly happening, and it's got this cast, and it's got writers, but somehow it doesn't have a director, but it has a script, and it has all this cast, which is a really good looking cast, but unless it's a TV thing, and it's like they don't want you to know about it. Bry says Phil because she was drunk. And Josie says that was her favourite scene of the 21-2 season. I don't have much to say regarding the indie spirits, but I will say I'm really happy for How to Burp a Pipeline with getting editing, because I thought that was a quite provoking thriller. I watched Fremont recently and thought it was very good. Super happy that it got the Cassavetes Award. And happy for Sessa winning Breakthrough Performance. What filmmakers would you like to see him work with next? Ooh.
This is always one of my go-to answers, but I can really easily picture him in a Wes Anderson movie.
I'm gonna say Damien Chazelle.
You would.
In 2011, Working Title said the film would not be released in cinemas. So why is it still listed on like? Oh, I see. It was one of those things. There was a thing of a test screening from 2009 where it was. I was eventually asking several times, permitted to see a copy of the film, which I think is possibly the worst film to be made in the 21st century. So maybe that's why it doesn't exist. That's awkward. So why is it still listed there? Oh, it's listed as a previous. It's listed as a previous thing, but not coming at. That isn't confusing at all. Then again, his next thing's probably Peaky Blinders the movie, because it's probably happening. Parsnip goes 2 hours ago. I wish these were on Tuesday or Thursday because I'm home then. Sorry, Parsnip. There's
Thursday's
to catch up with.
Thursday's never going to happen, but Tuesdays could happen potentially, depending on the circumstance.
Yeah. stuff can easily happen with that. And yeah, we do know about the protests. We acknowledge that. And Parsnip got 77% on SAGs, which isn't too bad. I mean, and looking at the numbers that we had, considering how they only hand out 15, the fact that we got 11 out of 15 means it was predictable as fuck.
Yeah. Except for the drama actors, apparently. Well, except for Ashley's case, but...
Yeah.
Accurate.
Well, no, the only two that we missed on completely was Murphy and Debicki. All the other, the other 13 categories, we at least got one in. So collectively, we were 13 for 15, I guess, to some extent. There wasn't a case where we missed more than two.
Murphy's becoming such a sure thing. I actually forgot we all said Giamatti.
I know. Josie's going off to shower. I'm joining the Chasing Labels podcast live, discussing 1944's The Uninvited. Well, that seems intriguing. Okay, that's a funny joke I'm going to share offline. Well, because I feel it's a bit random. Okay, I know, I'm putting it on here. Somebody going, like a Kate Middleton conspiracy theory. Like, I think as a joke thing, and Eric Anderson she was replaced by Keira Knightley during the blockade of Naboo. I don't know if that shade at Natalie Portman after what happened with the A.D. Bryant stuff, that people were trying to blow that into something, and of course Twitter actually did something good and community noted it. Yeah. Doing somebody out there doing God's work. So yes, we will be back here next Monday for the point where I have to work out, am I going to try and throw this to make it interesting, or do I go boring as all hell? You need to be here at 6 p.m. Eastern next Monday to find out. In terms of other stuff on the channel, personal things have meant my stuff hasn't gone up as timed, but I know for sure we're probably going to get Power Wash stuff either Thursday or Friday, what with new DLC coming out, because I have no clue what Warhammer 40. Well, I know what Warhammer 40k is, but my first dip into it, so it'll be interesting to see what that is. And there'll be an Isaac run on Sunday before the predictions and everything. Parsnip says, did you all have a lot? Hang on. Did you all have a live before Disney Movie Club decided to close?
Yeah, Movie Club's completely dead. Yeah.
I spent a fortune on Blu-rays this weekend.
Wasn't that because of some merger or something?
Yeah, Disney's been shooting themselves in the foot like hardcore lately. They continue to do so.
I went to the shops Thursday and was like, oh wow, my last chance to get at least in not off Amazon copy of a WWE DVD or Blu-ray is now gone. What with Survivor Series being the last ever release on home media, because that's what the network / Netflix is for now, I guess. It wasn't even in the shop. That it's got Survivor Series like 2018 through 2022, but not the new one. bit concerning. But yeah, Disney Movie Club does not operate over here, so no chance to peramble in the bramble. That's not a word. Because she was drunk. So that's some stuff from me. Owen's got Sip and Snacks and Voices of Liberty archives. We're probably getting some AJ content. I know there's one certainly that's in the works that will go up when I've got my stuff up. But is there any other stuff that you're gonna bring up?
Just the new releases.
Mm-hmm.
Dune for sure. Like I said, I saw Drive Away Dolph this weekend. There's still Argyle.
That face when you said Argyle, when you made that face, like, okay, I've got an idea of where the review's going, but I'll still watch it because I'm intrigued. Then I guess the other question is, do we do what has been threatened, and we have a live discussion about Maestro?
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a good time to do it.
Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We should tentatively have a nice discussion. Like, why is Maestro getting all this heat?
So I guess
just to be specific, next Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh God, no, we're not doing anything tomorrow. No reason. I can't see the movie until at least Friday.
Yeah, when we say see you next Tuesday, we do not mean the other thing. We mean Maestro. Honest. Which will be interesting of itself, because I guess that sort of will become like the lost unofficial episode of Movie Club, because it will like be us talking about a movie, but it's not.
I think the last time the three of us did a review of a new release, it was Fighting with My Family.
Yes.
Yeah. I still long for the day that Michael Flatley's Blackbird goes somewhere on American streaming thing. I've been waiting 12 months for this. It's going to be some grand... Eventually it'll get to the point where it's like, I can't give up. Find it on the various other places or use a VPN. Please and thank you. Parsnip also says, I will watch, but Maestro sucks and I had rules.
No, I'll never see Naiad Parsnip, so...
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but my main reason for wanting to do a Maestro video by itself is to explain, does Maestro really suck, though? That's kind of the talking point. I don't think we're going to convince you, but we can try. Depending on how everybody else feels.
Speaking of that, I don't want to bury this either, because I know everybody on here was curious, and I'm not going to say much more than this few lines. Asia knows where I'm going with this. So, I gave 2 shots to Dune when it was out in theaters, when it was running for picture, when it was like winning the techs, and when everybody in the world was marking out for it like it was the second coming of like Slumdog Millionaire and Jesus Christ wrapped up into one. Needless to say, I finally got another viewing of it before the new movie's about to come out, and I literally could absolutely care less about Dune 2 whatsoever until I saw it again. Got to watch it in a digital screen. Cinemark, take a shot. Cinemark, their version of Dolby Digital, which is like their 4D theater, and it's like their like Cinemark like 4X, I believe is what it's called, something like that. XD, that's it, XD. So I got to see it in a stadium seating with no one around me. I was caffeinated. I had my cookie dough bites. I was wide awake after a long day of work, and I got to finally take in the entire movie without falling asleep. And I did. And I got to see some behind-the-scenes stuff with Denny and the cast and everything, and I even got to see a scene from Dune 2 because it was part of the selling point for it. I can't say that you're going to convince me it's the greatest thing in the world, but I have a different opinion than I did. So that's all you got at this point.
I'd say we accept that. We'll take it.
Good luck doing that with the zone of interest. So And before we go, this went live after. I hate the fact that we get to be the bearers of bad news, especially. And this is obviously not going to really go over everybody's head that's watching the show. I really don't care at this point. It has to be said. So another death happened while we were live today, and I want to throw out a shout to probably who has been described as one of the most miserable men on the face of planet Earth. But to everybody that liked him, that hated him in the world, he had a big part in professional wrestling and a cornerstone of the Four Horsemen, and obviously the literal voice of the Black Scorpion himself. So yeah, rest in peace, Ole Anderson.
Indeed. So with that, thank you to Parsnip and Josie and Bry and Spencer 7 hours ago. Or what feels like 7 hours ago.
Yes.
As I say, in terms of live content, we'll be back this time next week for
The big one.
For a double header, if you will, of Oscar predictions Monday and Maestro chat on Tuesday. You got plenty of stuff covered until then. Find me on Twitter.
By then.
Find me on Twitter /X at Ash is my name UK. Owen is there as well at Surround Disney and at Popcast Network. AJ cannot be found on social media. And of course we know why that is. Because he was drunk! Anyway. With that being said, thanks everybody for watching and listening. And until next time, everybody. I've got the hand over my thing so I can't see what I'm looking at. Craig!